Hello, everyone. We are live. I'll give everyone just a second to come into the Google Hangout, and then we'll go ahead and get started. I'm super excited for tonight. Can't wait to dive in and talk to Connie and find out her career journey and share it with you all and talk about some of the awesome services that are very much needed for small business owners and entrepreneurs. I know many of my friends are joining tonight because you have been asking me about the trademark attorney. So we'll give it about another second, another minute for people to log on, and then we'll start with the introduction. Let me just start with some housekeeping rules tonight. You all know that you can ask questions at any time using the Q&A feature here on Google Hangouts. Pop in your question. You can also tweet your questions, and we'll check those as well. Make sure that you're taking notes. If you want to tweet tonight's tip that you learned from Connie, the hashtag is NTCJ, Navigating the Career Jungle. So I'll go ahead and introduce our guests so that we can get started. This 30-minute session is going to go by so fast, so y'all get ready. And remember, we always have a video recording available for you, so you'll have that later tonight as well. So let me read Connie's bio. It says, LaConya Mary EXQ is known as a small business attorney. She is the creator and owner of Off the Mark LP Solutions, a boutique legal and consulting firm based in Montgomery, Alabama. In addition to providing legal solutions in the trademark, copyright, and business development fields, Attorney Murray takes great pleasure in helping others prosper in their purpose. Off the Mark was created to ensure that entrepreneurs and businesses have access to the legal advice and counsel they need during many phases of their business. So her website is offthemarkipsolutions.com, and I'll make sure that I tweet that out as well so that you can check out her website. Connie, thank you so much for joining us. How are you tonight?
I am amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Yay. So I just told everyone a little bit of your bio. By the way, this is her book, 30 Days Til Launch. So she'll tell us how you can get a copy of that as well. So we'll go ahead and get started with some questions. And again, all of our viewers, if you have any questions, tweet them or pop your question into the Q&A box, and we'll get those questions asked for you tonight. So I'll kick it off. Tell us what you do day to day.
Day to day, on a day-to-day basis, I help entrepreneurs and businesses come up with different solutions to not only protect their businesses, but protect themselves. A lot of times people start businesses and they leave themselves wide open for liability. A lot of times they start businesses and they haven't even begun to do any homework on whether or not, one, is the business viable, or two, is their brand infringing on someone else's brand. And so I go in and assess that, and we come up with a plan to get them on the right path.
And I think that's awesome. And I know you start your book off by talking about having a plan. So I'm with you on that. And that's one step that people cannot miss, because this is how you make your money. So Connie, tell me, what did you want to be when you were a little girl?
Well, when I was a little girl, initially I wanted to be a journalist. But then about the age of 10 or 11, I wanted to be a lawyer. Like, I knew from a very early age that I wanted to be an attorney. So a little while after that, I wanted to be an attorney and a supermodel. I was going to combine them and be like the world's first supermodel attorney, but someone beat me to it. And then I got old, so it's okay. So I always knew that I wanted to be an attorney. What kind of attorney kind of went back and forth for a little while. But ultimately, I wanted to be a corporate attorney and help all of my friends start businesses. So, like, for real.
And I think that's so amazing that you had that passion and desire from an early age, and here you are living what you dreamed that you would be. So when you think about the term navigating the career jungle, what does that mean to you?
When I think about navigating the career jungle, I think about, first of all, I'll start with jungle. What is a jungle? You think of jungle, you think unruly, you think trees everywhere and not knowing what's going to come out to attack you. And then, so when I think of career jungle, I think of the same thing. You know, you're walking down this path and you don't see all the obstacles that may come your way, but you know that you got to steer through it. And it's good to have a guide or a mentor to help you get through it. So when I think of navigating the career jungle, I think of going through the path, but having someone with experience, someone with the knowledge to help guide you through the way, to help you avoid all the pits and the quicksand and the snakes and all of those things.
And I think that's phenomenal. So I'm just going to move on to the next question because that's awesome. So tell me about your journey to become an attorney. I know this is something that you thought about since the age of 10, but what was it like from the 10-year-old until where you are now? Tell us a little bit about that path.
Well, first of all, it was a lot of, I participated in a program called Upward Bound when I was younger, which is basically like summer school for high school kids. And every year they ask you what you want to be. And every year I would say attorney. It got to the point where everybody was like, don't ask her. We know what she wants to do. But even though I knew what I wanted to do, I had no idea how to get there. The technology that we have today, the access to information, I didn't have access to that. So I went to school, undergrad. Then I went, and actually I got pregnant my third year. That's when things kind of got a little rocky, a little iffy. Well, not really iffy, because I knew even though I was pregnant, I was in a situation, I was at home. I wasn't at home, I was away from home. I knew that I was still going to go through and accomplish my goal because it was in my heart. But I had some hiccups along the way. Of course, so trying to raise a baby by yourself, finish school, that was took me off the path a little bit. But one of the things that really got me, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I needed in order to get into law school. And especially on what I'm doing now, as far as the trademarks and the copyrights. If I would have known, I would have had a different major. I would have had a science background so that I can expand my practice even further. But eventually I did go to law school. I actually worked in the apartment business for about 5 years, making good money, but still not satisfied within myself because I knew there was something else that I wanted to do. So one day I'm sitting in my office and someone turns in their notice and she says, I'm leaving. I'm like, where are you going? What about school? Because I knew she was in law school. And she says, well, I'm moving to Montgomery and I'm going to Jones. I said, well, why would you leave the school that's accredited and go to a school that's not accredited? Because they have a part-time program and they just got their accreditation. She left the office and 5 minutes later I was on the internet and then I was on the phone, and the next week I had an interview with the school. And the week after that I was in law school. So that is my journey to there. I had the opportunity, I was blessed to actually find a mentor in my last year of school that taught me how to build relationships and how important relationships were. I learned how to really run a small practice. And a year after I graduated, I started my own practice and been rolling ever since.
And I love your determination, and you heard something and that sparked your interest and you just went after it. You were on the phone 5 minutes later, figuring out what you needed to do to get an interview to get into school. So Connie, kind of take a step back and tell me how you found the niche of trademarks to specialize in.
Okay, so like I said, when I was playing make-believe when I was young, I was a business attorney. Well, as I went to school older, I had my first child in undergrad. I had 2 more children in law school. I told my husband I'm not going to school anymore because apparently there's a correlation between school and Connie getting pregnant. No more school for me. But for me, what's really important is balance between career and family, and have an opportunity to get up and move when I need to. So the reason that I chose this particular niche is because with trademarks and copyrights, I can help clients throughout the United States. I'm not tied down to any one area. And that was very, very important to me because I'm not from Montgomery. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. My husband was applying for school, so we didn't know where we were going to end up. So I wanted to practice. I was ready to start my business, but I didn't want to be tied down at any one place.
So I mean, I'm just so inspired by you, and this is not my first time hearing your story, and I just get so excited. One of the things you talk about in your book, Connie, and you started off with this, you have to have a plan. So we're going to talk about some of the tips that business owners should do when they're planning for their business. But tell me, how do you plan your day, especially, you're running a business and you also have a family that you care for as well. So what's your day-to-day like as far as setting up your plan for success?
I find that when I plan the night before, everything runs so smooth. It helps. When I make my to-do list the night or day before, the next day runs a lot smoother. So, because my day starts with getting the kids up in the morning, running them around, making sure they get ready with, school and everything before I make it to the office. And it's really important to me, especially to have a plan because my days are short. My days in the office are short. So I'm dropping the kids off. I'm in my office by 8. I'm out of my office by 2, going to pick them back up. That's very important to me because, one, I'm hearing way too many stories of daycares doing crazy things with kids, and I don't have time to be in jail because somebody hurt my kid. And 2, I just like that time. I had that time with my oldest one, making sure that when she came home, we did homework together, and I felt like that's very instrumental in where she is now academically. I want to make sure that my younger 2 have the same opportunity. So I have a window from 8 to 2 to get stuff done. The window opens back up about 9. I didn't hear you.
It's really important for you to maximize that 8 to 2, but you said that you pick back up at 9 p.m. You start working again?
Right, I start working. So it's nothing for a client to email me and then get a response back, 9, 10, 11 o'clock if I'm up working. I'm trying to, like I said, balance. But if something needs to be done, I do it. I mean, that's just part of being an entrepreneur. That's just part of being a business owner. But if I can schedule out my days, then the nights that I have to spend between like 9 and 11, I can narrow those down a lot.
So I think that's really important. I think it's a good segue for us to jump into the book. And I'm just going to read a really short part of the book that I want everyone to resonate with so that we can talk about what these business owners need to do to get started. So it says, right in the first page, here it is, it says some of the questions that you should be able, 5 questions you should be able to answer that are critical to your business success. What product or service are you selling? Who are you selling to? What sets your business apart from your competitors? What are your business goals, and how will you accomplish those goals? And I think that goes hand in hand with what Connie just said about setting up her day in advance. She's working from 8 to 2 as the main part of her day, and then again from maybe 9 to 11 at night. So she has to be very specific with what she does. But Connie, why is this important for business owners as well to answer those 5 critical questions?
I think it's very important because those questions give you clarity about your business. And as business owners, you have decisions and opportunities coming at you all the time. And it's very important for you to know which opportunities to say yes to and which opportunities to say no to. If you have the answer to these 5 questions just at the start, you're able to stay focused and stay on the right path in order to grow your business and accomplish the goals that you set for yourself. You're able to respond positively to opportunities that will further your goals, and then things that are going to take you away, they don't really do anything for your business or what you laid out for you, you can say, you know what, no thank you. But this way you know in advance what to say yes to and what to say no to, so it makes the decisions a lot easier.
Right. So in addition to your book, which is a fabulous book, what books do you read to keep you business savvy?
I read And actually, my favorite thing to do right now is I listen to audiobooks. I love audiobooks. But I'm actually reading a book. I've tried to, must be in my office. I take it in between the office and here all the time, but it's called The Brand Called You. It's a phenomenal book. It is a phenomenal book. I also think the last audiobook I read was by Barbara Corcoran, Shark Tales. So that was a good audiobook. And actually what I'm listening to right now is Warren Buffett's autobiography.
Oh, really good.
That's interesting. He's kind of quirky, you know.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that, so I'll have to add that to my list.
Yes.
So let's talk about role models. You mentioned this earlier when you were giving me your definition of navigating the career jungle. So who are your role models and how did you get connected to them? And then the third part of that question is how do you maximize your relationship with your mentor?
My first mentor that I encountered on this journey was my first, well, this is my second employer. His name was J.R. Gaines. He had a solo practice. He was looking for an intern. It was an unpaid position, but I knew that I wanted to have my own practice. So it was important for me to get the experience of working in a solo office. And I learned so much from him as far as building relationships, because I'm very much an introvert. I'm very much a, you know, I'll stay in my own corner, and it's nothing against you, but I just rather be over here by myself. But he said, C Murder, that's his nickname for me, C Murder. C Murder, you gotta get over that. You know, you want to be in business, people need to know who you are. You need to work on these relationships. They're very important to your business. So that's one of the things that I learned from him. My second mentor is an attorney named Royanne Connor. She's an older lady. She's been practicing for years. She has similar story as far as kids and doing what I'm doing. So whenever I get overwhelmed with the responsibility of running a practice and raising a family, I just go and I say, how do you do this? What is your secret? And she's like, baby, you just, you get help when you can, but you make sure you have a strong team, but you get it done. There'll be times where I have to be at one place for one kid, another place for another kid, and I have a brief to write, but you kind of prioritize and you get it done. It can be done. So those are the two people that I look to for help, for reassurance, just as guidance. Sometimes having a mentor, it's not just about talking and asking them questions. Sometimes it's about observing how they handle different situations. And I've learned a lot from those two.
So what advice would you give to someone who is looking for a mentor as far as how do they connect to the mentor and then maximize that relationship?
First of all, you find someone that's kind of doing something that you're doing. Maybe they don't have to do exactly what you're doing. Maybe they're a career person with kids and you want to start your own business, and maybe it's in a different field, but you need to know how to handle the responsibilities of running a business and a family. Or maybe you want to know how to have a solo practice office like I did. So you find someone that might be able to answer some questions that you may have. And you reach out to them. I'll tell you this, my first experience, the first time I ever reached out for a mentor, I was rejected. This is before I actually got into law school. I read an article, it might have been in Black Enterprise magazine, and it had this gorgeous lady, and she was a corporate attorney, and she was doing what I wanted to do. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to write her. So I wrote her a letter, and she was just like, thanks, but no thanks. And next time, use a comma here or something like that. Not very nice at all. So my first stint of trying to get a mentor actually led to rejection, but don't let that deter you. And I keep in touch with my mentors. I actually serve on a board with one of them, and we go out to lunch. The main thing is, it's not just a take relationship, it's a give and take relationship, okay? Because anybody, I don't care what the circumstances are, they're not going to want to just be, oh, you have a problem, so you're going to call me every time you have a problem, but that's the only time I hear from you. I never get it. You know, you might tell me thank you at the end of our conversation, but I never feel the appreciation through our relationship. Relationships are give and take. And that's very important to remember.
And I think that it is absolutely critical. You said a couple of things that I just want to repeat in case anybody missed. These are things that you should be tweeting. You said having a mentor is sometimes observing, not just asking questions. You observe their behavior and you see how they respond to different situations and how they build those relationships with others. And then you also mentioned that it's give and take. And in my book, I talk about, you know, networking is building mutually beneficial relationships, but it's the same thing with a mentor. These are mutually beneficial relationships. And I absolutely love that you say that you stay in touch with them. You don't just call them when you need something. So if y'all don't take anything else away, that is so critical to maximizing your mentorship relationships. I'm so glad that you brought that out. So as far as what is something that you wish someone would have told you early on in your career that you now know and you share with up-and-coming attorneys in your area?
You know what? Something I wish someone would have told me was that it's okay to veer in a different path. A lot of people think lawyer and they think courtroom, and so when you do something like what I do, I have a transactional practice. A lot of times people, they will tag you as not a real attorney, or they'll frown at you because they think there's only one path to it. And a lot of times people are in the law doing things they don't want to do because they want to uphold this image that other people have set for them. I would say do what your heart tells you to do. Even if it's in law, there are so many areas that the law encompasses that you can find a way to follow your passion and practice law at the same time.
I have a question that's come through Twitter, and I have a couple other questions, but I'll answer this year's question. And he wants to know, how do I find out, you mentioned earlier, if I'm infringing on someone else's idea or trademark? I'm sorry, I don't remember the exact wording you used at the beginning. But you mentioned at the beginning that one of the things business owners should do is make sure that their idea is viable. So how do you suggest business owners go about vetting their idea?
Well, the first thing you want to do market research for your possible, and the word idea kind of scares me a little bit because when it comes to ideas, there is no protection in ideas. You don't get any protection until you actually do something with that idea. Okay, but once you start making steps to make a business out of this idea, you want to check the market and make sure, you know, there's a market for it and answer those questions. Who's going to be in your market? Is there a demand for it? But as far as infringing on someone's trademark, you want to do what we call a trademark clearance, which is do a search. You can search the USPTO website. If it's just a word mark, you can search that. If it's a design mark, you can search the same website. It's a little more complicated. But my office actually provides that service for people who just like, I want to let the experts do what they do, and I'm going to stay in my lane and run my business. But that's one of the first things you want to do is a trademark clearance search, which will search the USPTO, will do a comprehensive search through the internet, different business resources to make sure that this is not taken.
And I want to follow up because in your book, I actually marked on page 80, you talk about patents and then you talk about utility patent and design patent. That's something I had no idea of before I picked up your book. So can you tell us the different types of services that you offer and why business owners should come to you specifically for this reason? I didn't know there were those types of patents.
Yes, they're when it comes to intellectual property, they fall into numerous categories. My office, we don't do patents in my office. That's one of those things that I wish I would have known. Because I would have known, I would have had a hard science, because in order to practice patents, you have to sit for the patent bar, which requires a hard science degree. I have a philosophy degree, which was great because it helps me write and help me think this, that, and other. But my office, what we do is we do trademark clearance opinions. We do trademarks, registrations. If anyone's infringing on your mark, we help you defend your mark. and that's for trademarks and copyrights. We also do business development. My business development is more focused on the state of Alabama. But with that, we do contracts, business formations, as far as setting up your LLC. We do new hire paperwork. So when you're starting a business, what I find is a lot of times you hire employees, but you really don't have a set of rules established. And so there's a communication problem. You have this set up in the beginning. Again, it goes with planning. You have this set up in the beginning. There's a clear understanding between you and the person you're working with, whether that person is an employee or an independent contractor. So those are a couple of the services that I do.
And Connie, kind of walk us through and tell us some of the things that you cover in the book, because I think this is essential. I've been telling all of my friends that already have a business, you need to get this book. It's a great read. But kind of walk us through what the book is about, 30 Days to Launch. Okay,
well, 30 Days to Launch, the way that it came about is because I get asked on a daily basis, really, like, what do I need to do? People run up to me that I'm starting a business. I'm thinking about starting a business. What do I need to do? And so I came up with a checklist of basically legal and business bases that people need to consider before you open your business. Because a lot of times people, they just jump in and they start a business, but they don't do any planning. Or they start working with someone. So the book talks about business plans. Or they start working with someone, and next thing you know, that deal goes south and they're out of money. So it also talks about written agreements. We talk about business plans. We talk about contracts. We talk about naming your business. Naming your business is very important, because ultimately your name is going to be your brand name. How people interact with you, how people know your business from someone else's business. And because if it's protectable, it can be worth money one day. You know, trademarks aren't just a sheet of paper. They're literally assets. You need to get a loan against your business. McDonald's get a loan. They can actually assign their trademark to the bank as collateral for a loan. So it's an asset. We talk about business insurance, the importance of having the right business insurance for your business. We also talk about things like making sure you have the right permits, finding the right bank, because it's really important you have a great working relationship with the bank, because the bank is not just a place to hold your money. Eventually, as you grow, that bank is going to grow with you, and that's going to be a source of money as your business grows. So you want to have a great relationship with your bank. Like I say, you want to make sure you have your right permits, because you hate to start a business and then be shut down because you don't have the right paperwork in line. So basically what the book does is really about planning and making sure you have all the right things set up in order to be successful.
I absolutely love it. And I'm telling y'all, the book is phenomenal. If you're just considering starting a business and you don't know where to start, this is a great place to start, because it's going to hit all of the bases. And I have an MBA. I went to business school, and still I think this book is more valuable than all the classes that I've taken when it came to, what to do legally, because Connie is just that dynamic. So Connie, where can people find the book, and where can they connect with you online and the services that you offer?
Okay, well, the book can be found at 30daystillaunch.com. It's available through Amazon and Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can find me online at offthemarkipsolutions.com. I'm on Facebook as the Small Business Attorney. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn as Protect Your Mark. If you connect with me, let me know that you found me here. And I might have something for you. How about that?
How about that? So y'all definitely need to connect with her, most definitely. Connie, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. The 30 minutes has flown by as just a phenomenal guest. But before we go, do you have any parting pieces of wisdom that you would like to share with the audience?
One of the things I would like to share is, if you have a dream, if you have something that's on your heart to do, don't give up. Okay? Don't let obstacles that might may appear in this jungle called life, this career jungle, don't let that deter you from following your purpose. You keep going. You find a way. You find a mentor. You stay determined, and you make it happen. So that's my advice.
I love it. So I want to encourage y'all to check out Connie. Make sure you connect with her and tell her that you found her through the career strategy session tonight. I'm not kidding with y'all. I read all the time. You know that. If you talk to me or if you follow me online, you know that I'm always reading. And this is a really great book. So everyone needs to get a copy of it. Connie, thank you again for joining us. And I'll talk to y'all at the next career strategy session.
All right. Good night.